Good morning to another one of my live matches. This time we're at Brewood again on the Shropshire Union canal. This is a Wolves AA midweek open. There's a few here today. Yeah, there's a few here today. I think there's 16, which is a decent turnout for a Wednesday. So I'm looking forward to it. I've not drawn particularly well. I've drawn peg 6, which there's much better pegs further on up. But it's a day out, so we're still happy. I'll show you the peg. Alright, so I'm across from Katie Jane and Brian. There's a boat moored up on the inside. Got Ray Campbell to my right. Old Santa Claus, give us a wave. There he goes. And then this way, back up the canal, we've got John Cartwright to my left. Give us a wave, John. It's Cartwright. And the bait tray, I got some maggots which ain't come round. Some hemp, squats, pinkies, casters. Some of my favourite ground bait. Black with a bit of river in it. That's lovely, that mixes. And then we got some red worms for the hook. In horse poo again. Some dandies, some chopped worms, bread, bit of licky. So we'll see how we go. They're trying to put me off either side now while I'm filming. Bless them. So there you go. Right, we'll keep you posted, see how we're doing. Cheers. So I've decided from now on I'm going to do a voiceover on the videos to give it a bit more engagement, because watching them back I've noticed it is a bit quiet while I'm fishing. I tend to just get on with it, so I'll do a bit of talking over the videos from now on. If you need a translator, you can always hit the subtitles. We'll see. Right, so like I say, I plan to start on the worm down the track, so I've fed a little bit of mince worm with a few casters in directly down the middle at an angled 9.5 metres away from me. The second line I'm going to feed is the bread line, which I'd plumbed between the two boats just down the shelf. So I'll give them a good squeezed ball of liquidised bread with a few grains of hemp in. And that's going on my second line. It's probably about 2 to 2.5 feet deep there. The third line was in the same kind of depth, but in front of the boat. It's quite short of the boat because I don't think those boats move a lot, and they're very silted up towards them, so they're very, very shallow. The boat in front of me was like 12 inches deep of water. That's just not, it's not good enough for when the water's so clear. Perhaps earlier in the year when there's fish moving about and there's lots of boats moving about, that would be ideal, but not at this minute. So I'll put a little squeezed bull with a few squats in on that line, and I put a throwaway line at a top kit +1, just in case. Like I say, it was a throwaway line. I didn't expect to catch anything there, but you never know. I've got other parts of the peg plumbed up, like over towards that boat to the right. I've got plumbed up towards there. The boat on the inside, I plumbed a worm line there, which I intended to feed later on in the day. And I've got various lines up to the left as well. The wind was a bit awkward up to the left because it was coming between the boats straight at me. So it would be pushing the rig back at me more than anything, but it was there as an option. So like I say, I'm starting down the track on the worm. I've put a fairly small dandrobina on, which I nipped in half once I'd hooked it, and I went straight down the track on it. Hood up, it was cold. I never gave this line long because I could see the chaps either side of me. both catching fish on the bread, so I couldn't afford to waste too much time if I didn't get a bite straight away. I didn't, so I had to get on that bread. Fishing a fairly light rig. It was a 4x10 with a strung out shotting pattern. Size 20, N40 to an 08 bottom. And I was going to start on a 5mm puncher bread and see how it goes. There's an indication straight away, so there's something there. That's the boat owner, the boat from the inside, he's going off shopping. So at least we won't be disturbed if we do want to fish down towards that boat. He's already told me he's not going anywhere, as in driving off. So the first fish was a little roach. Well, not too little, it was a decent stamp. Nice little weight building fish, if you can keep them coming. Keep looking at John next door because he's catching well. And I'm a bit concerned. He's netting another one now. We'll keep an eye on this. Not massive fish, them like 3 ounce, but them a little bit bigger than what I'm catching, so I've got to be careful. I've made a mistake of not feeding that line, I think. So I'll give this line a few minutes and see if I can get any skimmers on it, and if it isn't as productive as it is, I'm going to have to get off my box and set a rig up, get fishing it.
Nah.
As it happens, I've just had a skimmer. Well, pommy, little pommy it is.
Nice start.
3 to 4 ounce. There's me being efficient again. All my disgorgers are still in the drawer.
Get away.
These are the ones you want. If you can keep them coming, you can easily build the weight up. That was a couple of ounce fish, just about swingable.
That was that just started up. Nice. Well, that one put the colour in the water if you ain't going nowhere. Well, might do. Hey?
It's quite steady for a while, this line was. Although I wasn't catching the stamp that John was catching, I was catching quicker, so I felt we weren't too far apart. I reckon we're close, but I think he might just be edging me at the minute. but I'll keep plodding on. But I'm going to have to do something about it soon, while the fish are still feeding. Still fish to be caught on this line, at the minute anyway. And not a bad stamp either. Starting to get awkward now. It's pushing the rig towards me as I'm trying to fish it. Although I've got back shot on the rig, I'm trying to hold a tight line and it's just, there's not enough flow pulling to drag the rig through. Somebody's trying to pull against me. Two number 8 back shot I've got on that rig. Still catching quite steady at the minute. And good, a fairly good stamp as well. It's enjoyable, this is. It's fishing much better than I expected it to. I thought it'd be a really difficult day. Just proves what do I know. Oh, it's got to the point where I feel I've got to do something about that red line, that deeper water line. John's probably up to 12 fish now, and I'm sure he's told me he's got 9 skimmers. Although they're not big skimmers, they've got to be worth catching. They're definitely worth catching. So hopefully I can do what I should have done earlier and plumb a rig up for it and hopefully catch a few. While they're still willing to feed. Can't imagine it's going to last all day. The rig I chose for this line was the 0.2 float. Everything else was the same. 08 hook length and a size 20 M40. And the reason I chose this rig was because it was around 3.5 to 4 feet deep. When plumbing the bread lines, I always plumb it so the hook bait is around about an inch off the bottom as a starting point, and then I'll work out how they want it from there. Sometimes it'll be laying on, sometimes it'll be further off the bottom, but like I say, an inch off the deck is a starting point. Cost me a few minutes that I was getting that sorted, but if I can get on to the end of some of them skimmers, hopefully it'll make it worth my while. Decided to get a 6mm punch out as well and start on that in that deeper water. Knowing that there's some skimmers being caught in that deeper water, I wanted to try and single them out. So a slightly bigger punch will do that. Straight into him as well. Noddy. Four ounce or more. Hopefully the delay in getting it sorted doesn't cost me. There's another one. Another better fish. It's proving to be really good fishing, to be fair. Really enjoying this. There's plenty of fish about in the first. Well, I mean, we're still in the first hour here. We're probably about 35-40 minutes into the match. And the fishing's fairly good. Well, it's very good, in fact. Can't imagine it'll last all day though. You'll also notice that I'm shipping out above the water. Because of that wind pushing through them boats, any debris that's coming through, leaves and what have you, is blowing into my bank. So there's quite a lot of leaves about, and every now and then I'm picking the odd one up. If I don't lift the rig above them, I'd be picking them up even more. Thought I'd hooked a decent fish on at this point. You'll see what happens in a minute. I thought I'd got a skimmer towards a poundish. Turns out it was just a foul hooked pommy. It was actually hooked in the dorsal fin. I don't care, I'll take that. As long as the end's in the spray bag, I'm happy. Great fishing this is. I'm still fishing a 6mm punch at the moment, but as it starts getting harder I will go down in size. I end up on a 4mm punch towards the end of the match, just picking odd little fish off. Not on this line though, in the shallower water, and it tended to be roach. As soon as this line starts to fade, I give him another ball as a top up to try and draw some more fish in. I've used original slip number 3 on both of my bread rigs today. It's soft enough not to bump those little roach, but it's got enough power to tame those skimmers and pommies. I'm really enjoying this match at the minute, although it doesn't seem that there are so many skimmers or pommies about now. It just seems to be more roach. That wind seems to be getting worse though. Apologies for the noise, the wind noise on the cameras. I have tried to mute as much of it as I can, but it's just too windy. I couldn't do much about it. See, some of these fish are well worth catching. Keeping my other line topped up as well, so I can alternate between the two. Once I've caught a few off one line, once I started to deplete the shoal, I can move to the other line, let them rebuild. That's in theory. Let's try and keep the bites coming longer. John's catch rate seems to have slowed down next door, so I think I'm edging away from him now. But it'll only take him a little run to get back in front of me. So I've got to think about what I can do next. Try the pink yolk bait over the bread, as sometimes it produces better fish, but this occasion it just produced tiny little roach. Bread was far better than any other bait. Also started loose feeding casters over this line, and there was a point where I went in and I had 2 half decent fish and as many chucks, and I thought maybe this is the way to go, but then it just died on me again. So whether it was right or wrong, I don't know. But there's still some fish to be caught.
Nine.
The stamp's still there. And with the occasional pommy and skimmer showing up, it's keeping me ticking over nicely. I'm enjoying this. little burst of skimmers again on this line, and then it just dies on me. So I'll give it a quick rest and have a look on the worm down the track, see if there's anything turned up there yet. Worm down the track proved to be a complete waste of time, to be fair. I've had one little tiny perch there all day, running a maggot over the top of it, never had a single indication on it. Kept some feed going in on that line just in case. Bites are getting really hard to come by now. I've just gone over on my ground bait line and had 3 fish on a single fluoro pinky, 2 pommies and a little tiny roach. And that was the only 3 fish I had on that line. I dropped back on my shortbread line and had 1 bite. That turned out to be a £1+ roach, absolutely stunning. And that was the last bite I had on that line the rest of the match. There was still odd little roach to be caught on the shallow water line though, so not all was lost. Sifting through horse poo again to find me a nice red worm to try and catch me a perch. This was the only one I caught there all day. Decided to feed the worm line that I'd plumbed up down the side of the boat to see if I can get any perch to come there.
Sorry, man.
This was slightly better than the track line anyway. I had 4 perch on this line, 3 very small ones and one about 2 ounce. So I probably had 5 ounce of fish off that line. Better than nothing, I suppose. Right, we're now 2.5 hours into the match, and I thought it was going to be a difficult day, but the first hour was brilliant, to be fair. I made a massive mistake not putting a bread line down the track, well, in the deeper water, and they started catching either side of me in the deeper water on bread, so I quickly got off my box. Although I was catching going up the shelf on bread, I got off my box and got another rig out and plumbed up a rig for down the shelf and fed it and started catching straight away. So that was a mistake. And after the first hour, we've all started to struggle. So it was like you had a burst of fish. You had a good burst of fish early on, and then it got really difficult. I've had a couple of three perch on the worm, fishing it along the boat, but it's not brilliant. It's not brilliant at all. But I went back on my deep line, deep bread line. I've only had one bite on it since, but it was a great big roach, well over a pound. It's absolutely made my day, and it's definitely the biggest roach I've ever caught out of the Shroppy. It's absolutely stunning. The unfortunate part was the battery had run out on the cameras, so I never got it on film, me playing it, but it's in the spread bag, so I'll take pictures of it later and put them on later on the video. I'll edit them into the video. Oh, what a fish. What an absolute clonking fish. I'm sitting on the worm at the minute, trying to catch a snare of perch or two down the side of this boat, but it's not looking good. I think we're just going to have to sit and wait and hope that some roach have a go later in the day, because there are roach here, because we've all caught some. So we had that initial burst, like I say, and they've shut up shop, so hopefully at some point they'll switch back on, but we'll keep plodding on and hoping they do. Speak to you later. Things are getting really difficult now. I'm just catching the odd roach on the shallower water line on the bread. I can't get a bite anywhere else. At least the wind's dropped. things are getting desperate now. Topping up on this line that I can just get odd bites on. I'm just giving it a little bit of a nugget of bread. And I'm just going through the motions, going through all the lines, trying to find a fish.
Brighton, are you? Is it Brighton? Oh, sorry, I'm wrong. Sorry, I thought it was the Brighton match you was on about. Have we got them in the week or something then? Right. It might be right, yeah. I think it might be.
By putting a little tiny fruit shoot pot on the end of my top kit and putting about 5 or 6 squats in it, I managed to get a couple of extra bites on the squat line. Giving the pot a quick dip in the water makes the squats stick to the side of the pot, so they're less likely to come out when you're shipping out. On a single red squat, that one. No more bites on the squat line, so back over to my bread line in the shallower water. That has been my most consistent line throughout the day. It needed resting lots, but if you left it alone long enough, you'd go in and catch a fish or two off it.
See that? Come off and went in my net. Looky. Looky, looky, looky.
My short bread line was now completely devoid of fish and I couldn't get a single indication there. So I re-plumbed up further down the peg in the same depth of water to see if I could get them to come there instead. This proved to be a mistake, I think, because it stopped me catching on my shallower water line as well. It might have been a coincidence, but I don't know.
Midweek. This is not enough. You're still getting bites, right? Yeah. Get the odd indication here.
I never had a single indication on this line.
Another one on there. Well, that's the only line I can consistently get indications on. When I say consistently, everything.
Last throw of the dice was to plumb another bread line in just coming up the shelf to my left at 14.5 metres. If I didn't catch here, I wasn't going to catch any more fish the rest of the match.
Tried that many times. I'm nearly out of bread. I got over a loaf when I got here. All I thought we need there is one strike to the deep. Actually, now I went out to get one. Yeah, you got to get one. That's a goosey sack, son.
This gamble paid off, as it caught me a few fish towards the end of the match. They weren't very big, but at least something was going in the net. I think I had about 10 fish, 8 to 10 fish in that last 20 minutes of the match. It's a good job I had plenty of liquidised bread with me in the morning, because I got through over a loaf of feed during the match. Some of it went on lines that never produced anything, and some of it went on lines where I was trying to bring the peg back to life, which never worked. But they really wanted the bread on the day, especially first hour or so of the match. It was great fishing, but then after that hour and a half of fishing, it just seemed to be a scratchy match. I don't mind that as long as you can keep putting the odd fish in the net, which is what I managed to do, so can't complain.
Yeah, I'm had a couple of rides and a couple of pommies. Just have this right now, this is right. Got a lot smaller now, but it's something to do, eh? We've had that already.
736. Fine. Go on, put the phone back. Phone back. Let's wait. Go on, put the phone back. Go on, mate. Just come back. He's a pounder. Easy. He's over a pounder. Beautiful. You won't be far off if he isn't. Yeah, them are. 4 mil plus. Yeah, I mean, that spell went brilliant. Yeah. And then I can't get a bite. Yeah. And then I've dropped on it, it's gone straight down the eye. I've not had another bite. Something there? I've not had another bite there the rest of the day. Yeah, weird, isn't it? Beauty.
How about that for a big roach then? I know it wasn't massive by some standards, but for me that was a big fish. It's big compared to what I normally catch. 1 pound, 2 ounce and some drams. Absolutely stunning. It made my day. As far as the match goes, I finished 4th in the match with 7 pound 3 ounces and 6 drams. 7 pound 12 was 3rd, 9 pound was 2nd, and Pete Chilton won the match with 11 pound odd off the end peg. Well done, Chillo. I think 3rd was achievable. If I'd have made the right decisions before the match setting up, 3rd was achievable. But still had a great day's fishing, so I can't complain for the time of year. Middle of December, great fishing. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of the commentary. I've had a few people comment to me that I'm too quiet during the videos and I don't do enough talking, so I think that's the way forward. Sorry about the wind noise on the video again. It was horrific. The wind was blowing right into the microphone of the one camera and I couldn't do a lot about it. Perhaps I could have muted it and then just spoke over it. I don't know. It's something I'll play at and try and improve on in future videos. So if you enjoyed watching that video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more like this, please subscribe. See you on the next one. Cheers.